Black Mama Cleaned House. Chapter 1. Discovered my son's secret and took down everyone who hurt us. Rochelle Brown slammed the fridge door so hard the pickles rattled, then spun toward the hallway just in time to see her 17-year-old Marcus sprint past like a guilty cartoon rabbit. His sneakers squeaked down the polished wood and the back door clicked shut a half-second later. Rochelle wiped hot sauce off her wrist, muttering, "Boy moving faster than salvation on Sunday. Something's up." Across the kitchen table sat Aunt Peaches, Rochelle's older sister, spoon deep in gumbo. Peaches raised one penciled eyebrow. "What you reckon that kid's hiding now?" Rochelle grabbed her phone and hit the door with a detective swagger she'd learned from a lifetime of Tyler Perry reruns. The June evening in Jackson, Mississippi felt like walking through gravy, thick, hot, and sticking to your skin. Crickets hollered in the magnolias, fireflies blinked like busted Christmas lights, and somewhere a neighbor's radio bled slow blues into the humidity. She spotted Marcus halfway down the block, bent over a sleek black Mustang with chrome rims nobody on Galloway Street should have been able to rent, let alone drive. Beside him stood Veronica Carter, the pastor's prim and perfect daughter, rocking high-waisted jeans and braids that probably cost the same as Rochelle's monthly electric bill. Marcus handed Veronica a fat envelope. Veronica slid him a small velvet box. They moved quick like folks exchanging hostages. Rochelle's heart thudded. "Lord, don't let my boy be hustling dope," she whispered. Then she added, because she knew her own temper, "And don't let me end up on the 6 o'clock news." She ducked behind old Mr. Tate's hibiscus hedge, phone camera rolling. Veronica popped the box, revealing a diamond bracelet. It sparkled so bright it could have blinded a saint. Marcus checked it, nodded, and slipped the jewelry in his backpack. Veronica tucked the envelope into her purse, kissed him on the cheek like payment confirmed, then slid back into the Mustang. The engine purred smooth as sweet tea, and she drove off toward the riverfront mansions. Marcus headed home, shoulders hunched, guilt dripping off him like sweat. Rochelle intercepted him on the porch, arms folded. "Evening, son. Interesting backyard sale you had going." Marcus froze. "Mama, look, it ain't what—" "Spare me. Your face is louder than your mouth. Empty your bag." He unzipped, revealing the bracelet. Rochelle's eyes widened, but she kept her poker face. "You robbing jewelry stores now?" "No, Mama," he blurted so loud a stray cat jumped. "I'm flipping luxury returns online. Veronica fronts the merchandise. I sell it on Marketplace. We split the cash. I swear it's legit." "Legit?" Rochelle snorted. "And I'm Beyoncé." Marcus tried a grin. "Could be worse. I could be boosting catalytic converters." Rochelle shook her head, half laughing despite herself. "Child, you got jokes. Hand over the bracelet." He obeyed, shoulders sagging. Rochelle examined the diamonds under the porch light, real as heartbreak. "Where's the money?" Marcus swallowed. "Veronica's holding it till the buyer pays." "Oh, she's holding it all right," Rochelle muttered, thoughts racing. Veronica Carter, Miss Praise Dance 2025, had Marcus wrapped up like Sunday leftovers, probably skimming more than her share. Rochelle's mama bear instinct roared awake. Nobody, holy or otherwise, hustled her blood. Inside, Aunt Peaches shouted from the kitchen, "Y'all better not be killing each other. I'm guarding the cornbread." Rochelle ushered Marcus in, kept the bracelet tucked in her palm. Over dinner, she played it cool, asked about homework, football tryouts, while her mind mapped revenge like a general before battle. She'd expose Veronica, reclaim her son's dignity, and if God was feeling generous, snag enough evidence to rattle Pastor Carter's spotless reputation. After all, fish rot from the head. Later, when the house settled into creaks and snores, Rochelle sat under the dim stove light, bracelet sparkling beside her coffee mug. She opened Facebook Marketplace, created a burner profile, Sweet Magnolia deals, and posted the diamonds with a markup Veronica would cry about. 2 minutes later, her phone pinged, "Buyer confirmed, cash in hand tomorrow." Rochelle grinned, sipped lukewarm coffee, and whispered to the quiet kitchen, "They played checkers, but baby, I'm about to play chess." Outside, thunder rolled over Jackson. The magnolias shivered, and somewhere down Galloway Street, a fancy Mustang revved like trouble still had gas in the tank. Rochelle leaned back, eyes blazing with equal parts love and fury. Her boy's secret had cracked open a door, and she was fixing to march through. High heels first, taking names and stealing halos. Chapter 2. Turned the pastor's halo into handcuffs. Sunrise painted Jackson pink and gold, but Rochelle Brown felt too wired to notice. She paced the kitchen wearing bunny slippers and yesterday's eyeliner, phone buzzing every few minutes with marketplace messages. Some buyer named Riverdog601 offered full cash for the bracelet. Meet up at noon behind the old Farish Street record shop. Aunt Peaches frying bacon whistled a blues riff. "Sis, you boutta hustle the hustlers?" "Not hustle," Rochelle said, flashing a grin that could cut glass. "Just balancing the books, like the good Lord and TurboTax intended." Across town, Veronica Carter parked her Mustang outside New Hope Baptist, hair flawless, halo even shinier. She greeted every parishioner with a hug that smelled like vanilla and secrets. Inside the sanctuary, sunlight spilled through stained glass Moses, landing on Pastor Carter's pressed suit. Veronica slid into the front pew, sang with an angel's voice, and side-eyed her phone, waiting on Marcus's text. Greed sat beside her, wearing church shoes. Back on Galloway Street, Marcus lay on his bed, staring at the ceiling fan, guilt doing donuts in his chest. He replayed last night. Mama's eyes, both disappointed and kinda impressed. And that promise he'd made while she fried catfish close to midnight. "I'll quit, Mama, cross my heart." Trouble was, Veronica still had the money and she didn't like refunds. Rochelle shoved open his bedroom door. "Put on clean jeans, boy, we going for a drive." "Where?" "Downtown. We gotta rinse some sin off the family name." She tossed him a crisp t-shirt. "And grab that sad puppy look off your face, folks can smell fear." They rolled into Farish Street at 11:58, heat peeling paint off brick walls, cicadas hollering like they owned the block. The record shop sat abandoned, windows boarded, graffiti bragging about old loves and lost elections. A river breeze carried barbecue smoke and gospel music from somebody's cracked stereo. Riverdog601 emerged, a squat, bald guy wearing shades and confidence. He inspected the diamonds with a jeweler's loupe, nodded once, then peeled off a stack of crisp hundreds. Rochelle counted twice, slipped the bills into her purse and hollered, "Pleasure doing business, dog." He laughed, swaggered off, and Rochelle muttered, "May the IRS be gentle." As Marcus climbed into the minivan, his phone pinged. "Veronica, where's my cut? Meet me behind the church at 1. Rochelle peeked over his shoulder. "Perfect. Divine appointment." They arrived as church let out, choir robes flapping like bright sails. Families smiled. Gossip flowed sweet as lemonade. Pastor Carter stood on the steps shaking hands, a shepherd counting sheep. Veronica beckoned Marcus behind the fellowship hall, unaware Rochelle shadowed them like a seasoned PI. Veronica cocked a manicured brow. "Where's the bread, baby?" Marcus swallowed. "Look, Ronnie, deal's off. I'm done." Her smile thinned. "We had an arrangement." From the bushes, Rochelle stepped out, purse slung like a sheriff's badge. "Oh, you'll get an arrangement, sugar, but it might involve police paperwork." Veronica's eyes widened. Pastor Carter, hearing Rochelle's voice, hurried over. "Sister Rochelle, what seems to—" Rochelle tossed him the velvet bracelet box. "Your child been laundering stolen returns through my son. Maybe preach a sermon on that." The pastor's jaw dropped. Veronica hissed, "It ain't like that, Daddy." "Oh, it's exactly like that," Rochelle shot back. "You fleeced resale jewelry money, used Marcus as your fall guy, then tithed nickels while pocketing diamonds. Bless your heart." Congregants gathered, whispers buzzing like disturbed bees. Aunt Deidre gasped, "Lord, in the Lord's yard?" Kids pressed closer, smelling drama. Pastor Carter's face shifted from confusion to fatherly thunder. "Veronica Grace Carter, you march yourself to my office right now." He turned to Rochelle, voice low. "Sister, I'm sorry. I'll make this right." Rochelle nodded, heat draining from her shoulders. Marcus looked at his shoes, then lifted his gaze to his mama. "You didn't have to go nuclear." She chuckled. "Son, sometimes a mama's love is a Category 5. Now come on." They headed to the minivan, humidity thick as syrup, but Rochelle felt lighter than she had in years. She'd protected her boy, clipped a serpent's wings, and still had cash to patch the roof and cover senior dues. Driving home, Marcus tapped the glass, watching clouds gather. "Mama, I really am sorry. I know, baby, but remember the folk saying, when a hyena offers you steak, count your fingers afterward." He smirked. "That a real saying?" "Sure is now." She tousled his hair. "Lesson ain't about diamonds or dollars, Marcus. It's about knowing your worth. Wolves prey on folks who don't." Thunder rumbled over Jackson as afternoon shadows stretched. Rain finally broke, tapping the windshield like soft applause. Rochelle eased the wipers on, smiled at the storm, and whispered, "Let it rain, Lord. We done planted truth today. Time for it to grow." Behind them, New Hope's steeple glimmered under gray skies while Veronica faced the longest sermon of her young life. And in the quiet hum of the van, mother and son rolled forward, hearts unburdened, pockets honest, and spirits shining brighter than any bracelet money could buy. Chapter 3. Let Karma Run Credit, and it paid. In full Rochelle Brown's ringtone, a gospel choir slamming a high C exploded at 3:07 a.m. She slapped the nightstand, squinted at the screen, and groaned. Jackson Police Department. That combo never dialed up bedtime stories. Officer Elijah Walker's baritone rumbled through the speaker. "Ms. Brown, hate to wake you, but your son's name popped up in a statement. You mind coming down to Precinct 4? Rochelle sat up, bonnet crooked. "Officer, the only thing popping at 3 in the morning should be microwave popcorn. What's Marcus mixed in now?" "Miss Veronica Carter reported stolen funds. Claims your boy threatened her." Rochelle snorted. "Son's scared of spiders and algebra. Threaten? Please." But her pulse ticked double time. She threw on yoga pants, a Drake t-shirt, and sneakers that squeaked like mice on linoleum. Aunt Peaches, hunched in her robe, waved a spatula from the hallway. "Need backup?" "Nah, Peaches, guard the coffee pot and pray." Rain smacked the windshield as Rochelle sped through Jackson's empty streets, neon signs reflecting off puddles like cheap diamonds. Outside Precinct 4, the magnolia trees bowed under storm wind, dropping petals like confetti at a sad parade. Inside, fluorescent lights flickered. The lobby smelled of old coffee and nerves. Elijah Walker, tall, mocha-skinned, beard trimmed tight, met her with the kind of smile that said he owned both a Bible and jumper cables. He walked her past rows of desks. Veronica filed after midnight. Said Marcus stiffed her out of $1,700. We brought her in for a statement, but her story's walking with a limp. They entered the interrogation room. Marcus sat slumped, hoodie soaked, eyes red. Rochelle's anger softened into Mama Bear worry. "You okay, baby?" "Yeah, Ma. I ain't touched Veronica's money. She's lying 'cause her daddy grounded her." Elijah leaned on the table. "Thing is, Ms. Carter dropped off bank screenshots showing withdrawals made by somebody using Marcus's online handle." Rochelle arched a brow. "Handle? You mean his gamer tag?" She turned to Marcus. "Boy, you using the same username for Fortnite and fraud? We raised you better." Marcus stammered, "Mama, I swear I deleted that profile months ago." Elijah slid a folder over. "Whoever hacked Veronica also moved cash into an account labeled R. Brown Philanthropy." He winked at Rochelle. "That's your name, right?" Rochelle almost laughed. "Philanthropi? Sir, my philanthropy is keeping the lights on." She flipped through the documents, noticing the transfer dates, 2 hours after yesterday's church showdown. Somebody was cooking receipts faster than Waffle House flipped hash browns. Rochelle's mind clicked like a safe finding its combo. Veronica's covering her tracks. She knows Daddy's wrath is biblical, so she's framing my boy and icing me for good measure. Elijah nodded. "That was my hunch, but I need proof. Judge won't sign a warrant on gut feelings." Rochelle's eyes narrowed. "You give me 12 hours, a Wi-Fi password, and a cinnamon roll. I'll hand you Veronica's confession on a gold charger plate." Elijah tried to hide a grin. "Mrs. Brown, are you suggesting we deputize you?" "Deputize? Honey, you're just leasing the hurricane that's already here." He released Marcus with a warning and a bag of vending machine chips. As they exited, Rochelle muttered, "We got work." Marcus sighed. "Mama, please don't go full soap opera." Rochelle patted his shoulder. "Too late? Credits already rolled?" Back at Galloway Street, dawn smeared orange across wet pavement. Rochelle sat at Peaches' laptop, hair tied up like battle gear. Marcus hovered, chewing leftover bacon. "Remember Veronica's TikTok, VB Lux?" she asked. "She live streams everything except her SAT score." Marcus nodded. Rochelle searched recent uploads. Bingo. One posted at 1:15 a.m. Veronica in tears, mascara running, ranting about betrayal. Rochelle hit play. In the background, a laptop screen showed a bank site logged in under Marcus's handle. Except the interface was a sandbox demo every Jackson High student used in computer class. Fake as a $3 bill. Rochelle screen recorded, zoomed on the demo tag in the browser tab, then scrolled Veronica's previous clips. At 12:40 a.m., she'd bragged about teaching some folks a lesson. Rochelle patched the videos together, overlaid timestamps, and brewed proof sweeter than peach cobbler. By noon, the storm clouds cleared. Rochelle marched into New Hope Baptist's Fellowship Hall, where Veronica hosted youth Bible study, halo freshly polished. Teens practiced praise dances. Veronica filmed them for Instagram. Rochelle waved her phone. Hey, Miss Influencer, mind explaining your late-night cinema? Veronica's face lost color faster than bleach on denim. What video? Elijah stepped from behind Rochelle, badge shining. The one showing you staging a fraudulent transfer. He addressed the class. Y'all grab water, lesson's over. Veronica's followers scattered like bowling pins. Veronica stuttered, You can't. Elijah read Miranda Wright smooth as poetry. Tears spilled. Her halo hit the linoleum. Pastor Carter, summoned from his office, watched in silent grief. Rochelle touched his arm. Pastor, truth ain't the enemy. Lies eat families like termites. He nodded, voice cracked. Thank you, sister. Outside, sunshine broke through, birds testing new melodies after the storm. Elijah escorted Veronica into the cruiser. Marcus exhaled, shoulders finally unplugged from tension. Rochelle faced Elijah. Detective, appreciate the ride, but next time call before sunrise. My edges need warning. He chuckled. Deal. And, maybe we grab coffee not in a precinct? Rochelle smirked. Careful, Walker. Folks in this town talk faster than Wi-Fi. As the cruiser pulled away, Rochelle wrapped an arm around Marcus. Remember, son, when folks plant lies, truth grows like kudzu, slow, steady, and it'll choke every flimsy story it touches. Marcus nodded, eyes shining. Love you, Ma. Love you more. Now let's go home, fry some chicken, and Google philanthropy. Apparently, we got a foundation to launch. Above them, the magnolia branches swayed, shedding yesterday's rain. And in the deep hush that follows a hard lesson, Rochelle's laughter rose, bold, relieved, and bright enough to promise the next chapter would be written on stronger, cleaner pages. Chapter 4. Bet my faith. On a badge and almost lost my heart. A loud pop and a string of curse words yanked Marcus out of Saturday sleep like a bad alarm clock. He bolted into the kitchen to find Rochelle wrestling a cast-iron skillet that had jumped off the burner, biscuits scattering like spooked pigeons. Boy, why you staring? Catch that butter before it melts, she barked, wiping flour off her cheek. Marcus scooped the runaway stick and laughed. You cooking for an army? Nah, she said. Just one hungry cop who thinks I owe him coffee and a debrief. Right on cue, Officer Elijah Walker tapped the screen door, a box of Shipleys and that slow grin that could make a hymnal blush. Morning Brown household. I brought donuts in case your cooking's a crime scene. Rochelle narrowed her eyes. My biscuits could raise the dead and pay the light bill, thank you. Marcus smirked, whispering, Flirt alert. They sat at the table while thunderheads gathered over Jackson, rumbling like distant drums. Elijah sipped chicory coffee and slid over a thin envelope. Early discovery from Veronica's lawyer. She's crying unlawful arrest, says you manipulated evidence. Rochelle's jaw clenched. Baby girl still doubling down on stupid. Elijah leaned closer. Judge set a hearing Tuesday. I'll testify, but the DA wants airtight proof you never touched her accounts. Marcus perked up. I can pull server logs from school, her IP's all over 'em. Rochelle nodded, pride bubbling. Do it, and run a backup on 2 flash drives. Devil loves deleting receipts. Just then, Aunt Peaches burst in waving the Clarion Ledger. Headline, Church Princess claims frame-up, blames single mother. Rochelle grabbed the paper, scanning the photo of Veronica fake crying on her daddy's steps. Peaches huffed. Folks on Facebook already dialing you ghetto Nancy Drew. Girl, your haters multiply like church fans in July. Rochelle snorted. Let 'em. Lions don't lose sleep over sheep memes. Elijah rose. I gotta roll patrol, but holler if you need backup. He hesitated, then touched her hand. Just a second too long. Electricity whooshed through Rochelle's chest like praise break drums. She coughed. "Drive safe, officer, and quit staring at my biscuits." He winked. "No promises." After he left, Peaches sang, "Ooh, somebody's heart doing double dutch." By afternoon, storm clouds cracked open, dumping rain that pounded rooftops like God testing drumsticks. Marcus hunched over his laptop, fingers flying. Rochelle paced, phone glued to ear, rallying church mothers and neighborhood aunties. Bring every text thread, TikTok, carrier pigeon scrap, anything showing Veronica's schemes, we turning truth into a parade. Sunday evening, New Hope Baptist held its emergency board meeting. Rain still hissed, thunder rolling behind stained glass. Rochelle marched in wearing a sunflower yellow dress, Peaches at her flank like legal counsel, Marcus clutching a USB drive. The sanctuary smelled of wet umbrellas and tension. Up front, Pastor Carter sat stone-faced, Veronica beside him, eyes red but calculating. Her lawyer, slick as motor oil, rose. "This woman weaponized social media to defame my client." Rochelle cut him off. "Sir, the only weapon I got is Wi-Fi and common sense, both legal in all 50 states. Murmurs rippled through the pews. Marcus handed the USB to Elijah, who had slipped in quietly. The projector lit up. Screen records of Veronica's midnight rant, server logs tagged to her dorm room, and a Venmo receipt showing her transferring refund money to a secret sneaker fund labeled "Daddy Don't Know." Gasps burst like popcorn. The lawyer sputtered. Pastor Carter's shoulders sagged as if every hymn in the hymnal turned to stone. Veronica shot up, voice cracking. "Okay, I messed up, but she sold stolen jewelry." Rochelle stepped forward. "I sold a bracelet your hustle left on my porch, darling. Proceeded to patch my leaky roof and sponsor 3 choir robes. That's called making lemonade." She faced the board. "But if y'all feel unholy about it, I brought the ledger of every cent." She held up a notebook stuffed with receipts. "Integrity's like gumbo. You taste it or you don't." An elderly deacon stood. "Sister Brown, you've shown receipts thicker than Sunday gravy." Motion to clear her name and suspend Veronica from youth leadership. Hands shot up faster than fans in a heat wave. Gavel cracked. Pastor Carter whispered to Rochelle, eyes wet. "Thank you for saving my child's soul from a deeper pit." Rochelle squeezed his hand. "We all fall, Pastor. Some just land louder." Outside, the rain stopped, leaving the world smelling brand new. Elijah walked Rochelle to her minivan, streetlights reflecting on puddles like mini-moons. He leaned against the door. "You handled that like a queen with a switchblade." She laughed. "I prefer Southern Belle with receipts." He scratched his beard. "Look, after Tuesday's hearing, how about dinner that doesn't involve police fluorescent?" Rochelle pretended to ponder. "Depends. You taking me someplace with cloth napkins?" "Real ones," he said. "Maybe even a candle." She smiled wide enough to rival the street lamp glow. "It's a date, provided you like your biscuits homemade." As she drove off, Marcus asked, "Mama, you sure about dating a cop?" Rochelle smirked at the rearview mirror. "Baby, even a badge needs a lesson in flavor. Besides, life's too short to dodge good men." He nodded, windows down, humid night air rushing in. "Think Veronica learned her lesson?" Rochelle's gaze softened. "In the old stories, the trickster always returns. But whether she's snake or caterpillar now, that's between her and the Creator." Lightning flickered far off, but the sky above Galloway Street stayed clear, stars peeking like curious kids over a fence. Rochelle whispered an old Delta proverb her grandma used to say. When the storm steals your roof, thank it for the better view of heaven. Tonight her roof held firm, her boy rode easy, and her heart, though still wary, beat a hopeful new rhythm that even thunder couldn't drown. Chapter 5. Watched snakes play. Chess and crowned myself anyway. Tuesday morning slid into Jackson like a lawyer in patent leather shoes, slick, loud, and smelling faintly of nerves. Rochelle Brown stood in front of her cracked bathroom mirror ironing her best navy dress with a flat iron because the real iron died during Clinton's first term. Marcus knocked on the door. Court starts at 9, Ma. You nearly done cooking that outfit? She grinned at his reflection. Baby, greatness takes preheat. Outside, summer steam rose off Galloway Street, making the magnolia leaves shine like they'd been Vaselined. Aunt Peaches shuffled to the van in a polka-dot suit 2 sizes too loud for a courtroom. If we're fighting devils, she declared, I'm wearing Sunday fireworks. Marcus slid a flash drive into his pocket like a lucky coin. Rochelle started the engine, praying it wouldn't cough judgment in front of the courthouse. Hinds County Court felt colder than a deacon's handshake after tithes came up short. Fluorescent lights buzzed, benches creaked, hope and doubt mixed in the air like cheap cologne and floor wax. Veronica Carter sat at the plaintiff's table in a gray power dress, eyes hard as day-old cornbread. Her lawyer, Mr. Slick as Motor Oil, flipped through notes with a smile that said, I reheated this line in the Mirror. Judge Lucinda Graves, reputation sharper than a switchblade in a Bible cover, entered. Let's keep it tidy, folks. My lunch waits on nobody. Opening arguments flew. Slick lawyer painted Rochelle as a digital grifter who manipulated holy innocence. The DA countered with timestamps, server logs, and the now famous sneaker fund labeled Daddy Don't Know. The gallery whispered like wind in a cornfield. Then Slick lawyer pulled a rabbit. Your Honor, we submit new evidence. The bracelet sold by Ms. Brown belonged to New Hope Baptist's insurance fund, technically church property. Her resale constitutes felony conversion. Gasps popped across the courtroom. Elijah Walker, seated behind Rochelle, tensed. Rochelle clenched her fists so tight her nails left gospel notes in her palm. Marcus leaned over. You still got the buyer's info? Rochelle's eyes darted. Riverdog's number, yeah, saved it under maybe craziest man alive. Judge Graves called a recess to let the truth stretch its legs. In the hallway, Rochelle paced. Elijah tugged her elbow. We'll track the buyer, prove Veronica planted that story. Rochelle exhaled. Officer, I'm chasing snakes with flip-flops. I might get bit. Elijah's voice softened. Snakes forget one thing, eagles don't crawl. He squeezed her hand, warmth radiating past badge, past fear. Peaches burst out of the restroom, waving her phone. Sister, check your messages. Riverdog had sent a video. Veronica delivering the bracelet to him last week, bragging it was off the book's inventory. Rochelle nearly kissed Peaches' polka dots. Elijah forwarded the clip to the DA faster than gossip at a barbershop. Back in session, the video played on the big screen. The jury's jaws dropped in synchronized disbelief. Veronica's face drained of color like Kool-Aid without sugar. Slick lawyer stuttered. Objection, context. Judge Graves leveled a stare that could curdle milk. Counselor, the context is your client got caught on candid camera. Veronica cracked. Tears flowed, mascara streaming like melted vinyl. She admitted hacking Marcus's handle, staging fake screenshots, pawning youth choir jewelry to cover her sneaker addiction, and blaming Rochelle to dodge her father's wrath. Pastor Carter buried his face in his hands, heartbreak echoing through the pew-like benches. Judge Graves dismissed all claims against Rochelle and Marcus, ordered Veronica to perform 300 hours of community service, starting with scrubbing every toilet at New Hope Baptist, and referred her for diversionary counseling. Court adjourned. The gallery erupted in chatter. Rochelle hugged Marcus so tight his ribs called for mercy. Peaches tried to start a praise dance until a deputy side-eyed her. Outside, thick clouds finally split, letting sunlight pour like liquid gold over Capitol Street. Reporters swarmed. Rochelle raised a hand. "Y'all, I'm just a mama who loves receipts. Story's over. Go hydrate." She guided Marcus down the steps. Elijah caught up, jacket slung casual, smile easy. "Ms. Brown, the city of Jackson owes you a medal, or at least tax credit for public service." She laughed. "Tax credit first, medal later." He cleared his throat. "Dinner still on?" Rochelle pretended to weigh cosmic truths, only if the restaurant got cloth napkins and pound cake. Elijah's grin answered yes. Peaches elbowed Marcus. "Look at your mama glow, she's the 4th of July." That evening, cicadas sang back up to distant thunder. Rochelle sat on her front porch, sipping sweet tea in the hush before dinner. Marcus leaned against the rail. "Ma, you ever scared truth won't show up on time?" She glanced at the sky's pink edges. "Baby, truth is like sunrise. Might sleep in behind clouds, but it's never clocked out." A breeze rustled the magnolias. Somewhere down the block, kids chased lightning bugs, their laughter stitching the neighborhood back together. Rochelle closed her eyes, feeling the day settle. She thought about Pastor Carter's tears, Veronica's fall, Elijah's steady hand, and her own heart, bruised but beating a new song. In the old folk tales, the griot would say, "If you feed a snake lies, it'll grow big enough to swallow you." Rochelle whispered that line to the dusk, letting its lesson drift across lawns and rooftops. Marcus sat beside her, shoulder to shoulder, silence comfortable as an old quilt. Streetlights flicked on, casting honey pools over cracked pavement. Rochelle rose. "Come on, son. We got biscuits warming and a cop waiting. And tomorrow? Tomorrow we start dreaming up a real foundation. One where the only laundering is clean clothes and clean souls." They stepped inside, screen door slamming behind them like a period at the end of a long, righteous sentence, while the night hummed outside, soft and forgiving, a choir practicing for better days. Chapter 6. Turned crumbs of trouble into bread for the whole block. Saturday's sun floated over Jackson like butter on grits, soft and golden, as Rochelle Brown lugged 2 pans of peach cobbler through the doors of New Hope's Fellowship Hall. The place buzzed louder than a beauty shop on prom day. Folding tables lined the walls, loaded with casseroles, barbecue pans, and paper signs that read, "Brown Family Foundation Community Lunch. Free to all, no questions asked." The scent of hickory smoke mixed with pineapple sheet cake. Gospel music bumped from a borrowed Bluetooth speaker. Kids chased each other between chairs, their laughter bouncing off the stained glass windows Pastor Carter had cracked for breeze. He stood near the front, sleeves rolled, handing out sweet tea like repentance in a cup. Veronica, in rubber gloves and a hairnet, scrubbed pans in the kitchen, paying back every hour the judge assigned her. Nobody gloated. Rochelle's rules said redemption tasted better shared. Marcus manned the registration laptop, collecting nothing but first names and dreams. We can hook you up with resume help, college tours, coding classes, he told a line of teens. He had grown an inch since the trial, shoulders squaring like he'd finally moved out of boyhood's waiting room. Aunt Peaches, wearing a wide-brimmed sunflower hat, floated around, refilling lemonade and compliments. Sugar, that dress is preaching, like a pint-sized cheer squad. Rochelle set the cobblers on the dessert table just as Officer Elijah Walker strolled in, off-duty but 10 degrees handsome in dark jeans and a polo that knew its way around a gym. He carried a single white rose and a box of brand-new flash drives. "For the foundation," he said, handing Marcus the tech and Rochelle the flower. She tucked the stem behind her ear. "Better be careful," she teased. "Folks gon' think I'm somebody's girl." Elijah shrugged. "That ain't rumor, that's breaking news if you want it." Before Rochelle could craft a snappy comeback, Mayor Liddell stepped to the mic. "Jackson's seen plenty storm clouds," she began, voice echoing off Fellowship Hall tile. "But a storm can't drown folks who know how to swim together. Today, we honor the Brown Family Foundation for turning a courtroom saga into a citywide blessing." Applause cracked like fireworks. Rochelle raised both palms. "We just passing on what God already cooked," she said. The mayor handed her a framed proclamation, gold seal glinting. Elijah whistled low. "Told you cloth napkin living was your lane." After speeches, a sudden hush drifted through the room. Marcus tapped the mic. "I got one more surprise." He cued a video montage, kids from the new coding club shouting thank yous, seniors in fixed-up porches waving, Pastor Carter preaching forgiveness, even Veronica, eyes earnest, saying, "Messing up ain't the end, it's the start of cleaning up." Rochelle pressed a napkin to her cheek, pride leaking like syrup. Outside, late afternoon heat wrapped the block. Rochelle slipped onto the church steps for air. Cicadas droned. Magnolia petals swirled on a lazy breeze. Elijah joined her, offering a bottle of water. "Big day," he said. She nodded, shoulders easing. "You ever think trouble's like compost?" He raised a brow. "Come again?" "Smells foul, but if you turn it, add sunlight, it grows good things." Elijah chuckled. "Girl, you're a walking proverb." He reached into his pocket, pulled a small velvet box, familiar but new. Rochelle's breath hitched. "Now hold up." He opened it. Not a ring, but a silver USB engraved with her initials. "Relax," he laughed. "Proposal level 2 will come later. This holds every file for the foundation charter. You, me, Marcus, Peaches on the board. What you say?" Rochelle exhaled, smile blooming. "I say let's grow some good things." From inside, Marcus called, "Mama, they asking for more cobbler." Rochelle stood, dusted imaginary crumbs off her dress. "Tell him I'm bringing seconds and a moral." Elijah saluted, following her back into the joyful noise. That night, porch lights flickered on across Galloway Street. Rochelle sat in her rocker, Elijah beside her. Marcus stretched on the steps, scrolling college scholarships. Fireflies blinked, as if the stars had come down to eavesdrop. Rochelle thought of yesterday's snakes, today's feast, tomorrow's letters of hope. She remembered an old Delta saying her grandma whispered whenever life flipped the table. "If the world drops crumbs, bake bread." She squeezed Elijah's hand, heart steady and brave. On that porch in Jackson, bread was rising and every hungry soul could smell it. Chapter 7. Cashed in hope's dividends and left change. For whoever's next autumn tiptoed into Jackson wearing a jacket of red maples and cool mornings, the kind that made folks trade sweet tea for hot cocoa and gossip for quiet smiles. On a late October Saturday, the Brown Family Foundation threw its first Dream Street Fair, stretching 3 blocks down rebuilt Galloway. Pop-up tents glittered with fairy lights. Saxophone riffs drifted through crisp air, and the smell of roasted corn cozied up with funnel cake sugar. Rochelle Brown strutted down the midway in caramel boots, clipboard under one arm, Elijah's jacket over her shoulders. She waved as neighborhood teens handed out scholarship flyers printed on her donated flash drives. Aunt Peaches captained the food tent, hollering, "Get your blessing in a bowl, baby, gumbo hotter than your ex's new fling." Marcus ran a VR booth where kids tested coding projects. Every time someone mastered a level, he rang a cowbell so loud the pigeons filed complaints. Veronica Carter, now 6 months into community service and humility lessons, managed a thrift boutique stall. She greeted customers with genuine warmth, eyes no longer sharp with hustle. Pastor Carter watched her from the church steps, tears shining the way street lamps catch rain. Rochelle joined him. "Looks like grace fits her better than diamonds," she said. He answered, voice thick, "Thank you for handing my child a ladder instead of a shovel." Near sunset, Mayor Liddell took the mic on a flatbed stage, jacket flapping in the cool breeze. "Jackson's renaissance ain't coming from shiny grants," she told the crowd. "It's coming from folks like the Browns turning trouble into traction." She motioned to Rochelle and Elijah. "Tonight we announce Galloway House, a tech and tutoring center funded by city seed money and Brown Foundation hustle." Applause rolled like thunder chasing light. Elijah squeezed Rochelle's hand. "Ready for Act 2? She chuckled. "Honey, we still in the opening credits." He stepped back, cleared his throat, and pulled a slim ring box from his coat. The crowd hushed so fast even the saxophone player froze mid-note. Rochelle's breath caught like a hiccup in heaven. Elijah knelt on one knee, boots dusty, heart steady. "Ro, you taught me storms can grow gardens. Marry me and let's plant jungles." Laughter and sniffles tangled together in the chilly air. A child yelled, "Say yes, Miss Rochelle." Rochelle wiped a tear, then grinned wide enough to outshine the fair lights. "Officer Walker, it's yes, so long as you keep eating my biscuits." He slid the ring on, the sax picked up again, and the crowd erupted. Even Peach's gumbo pot rattled like it approved. Fireworks, donated by a local vet who always wanted to see colors dance above his block, shot off behind the church, red and green blooms reflecting in every storefront window. Marcus snapped photos, shouting, "Mama, hold the ring up, the algorithm loves sparkle." Veronica slipped Rochelle a small velvet pouch. "Something borrowed," she whispered. Inside lay a dainty gold bracelet, the same one that once lit the fuse on everyone's mess. Rochelle fastened it next to her new ring, symbols of trouble and triumph clinking like old frenemies learning to two-step. After the music faded, Rochelle took the stage for a closing word. Lantern glow traced gentle shadows across familiar faces. Grandmas in lawn chairs, toddlers sipping cocoa, teens leaning on scooters polished for date night. She let the quiet settle, then spoke. "Family," she began, voice carrying beyond the speakers. "A wise griot once said a broken pot still boils water if you keep the fire under it. We've all been chipped, cracked, maybe downright shattered. But look around. Look at what spills when we refuse to toss each other out." She pointed to Galloway House's banner flapping near the end of the street. That building ain't bricks. It's second chances laid end to end. Wind rustled applause through the maple leaves. Rochelle added, "If life hands you snakes, teach 'em to pull the plow. If it hands you crumbs, bake for the block. And when hope finally pays interest, leave some change on the table for whoever's next in line." The crowd answered with cheers, laughter, and a church-born amen. Somewhere above, the last firework fizzled into a silver smile, and for one long heartbeat the whole neighborhood breathed the same clean air. Hearts synced like choir claps. Later, when tents folded and street sweepers hummed in the distance, Rochelle and Elijah sat on the church steps, warm cocoa between them, cool stars overhead. She traced the bracelet, feeling its old scars, then touched the ring, feeling its fresh promise. Elijah rested his arm around her. "Think we finally outran the storm?" he asked. Rochelle leaned against him. "Storm didn't end, baby. We just learned the steps to its dance." She glanced down the quiet street where lamplight spilled over new murals and fresh-planted flower beds. "And tomorrow," she whispered, "we teach the whole city how to move." Their laughter floated up, mixing with the night wind, carrying a final moral across Jackson's rooftops. When justice and joy link arms, even trouble tips its hat and walks on home.